1996, Bellevue, Washington. If it is meant to be, the Cosmopolitan horoscope for 1996 read, as Warren Farrell noted in Why Men Are the Way They Are, these are words that figure prominently in the holy writ of modern femininity. If it is meant to be, he will find a way. If it is meant to be, you'll just happen to bump into one another atop the Empire State Building one fine May afternoon. If it is meant to be, everything in your lives will conspire to bring you together. If it is meant to be. Like the old Doris Day song about whatever will be, will be. Speaking of a love long lost to her long ago, Yetta, an elderly woman I used to know, sighed and told me, if it was meant to be, it would have been. Just because something is meant to be, I replied, does not mean it will be. We are, after all, free to choose. Remember the story of the religious man caught by a flood? Warning came, the river will flood, flee while you can. If it is meant to be, he replied, God will save me. The flood came, stranded, he sat on the roof of his house, waiting for God to save him. A boat came, leave me, he said, if it is meant to be, God will save me. A helicopter came, don't fret for me, he called out, if it is meant to be, God will rescue me. After he drowned, he approached God and asked, Lord, why did you let me drown? Why didn't you save me? To which God replied, I sent you a warning, then a boat, then a helicopter. What were you expecting? A legion of angels? That's the thing about being human. We're free to choose. Tricky thing, free will. Taking responsibility is part of the package. We can choose to do what is meant to be and not do what we shouldn't, not to do what is meant to be and do what we shouldn't, or take no responsibility at all, leave everything up to chance, and sigh whatever will be, will be. Feminists like Catherine McKinnon complain about this. She says women are that way because men want them to be that way, so they'll be passive, easy to push around, rape, get them to do the dishes. Yet even Marilyn French's recent book, The War Against Women, we find passing references to how most men, even in the most patriarchal societies, prefer women who are not passive. Well, okay, so that was in reference to sex, not to the larger context of life in the big city. Here in the States, however, according to a recent survey on traditional versus equal partnership marriage relationships, American men reported that they are much happier in 50-50 relationships, that they do prefer relationships with women who are full partners. So whatever was true about men wanting women to be passive, it's no longer true, at least not in America. Ironically, in the same survey, women reported being less satisfied in such relationships. Taking responsibility has a price, but, as Betty Friedan noted in The Feminine Mystique, the rewards of being an adult, full participation in life, far outweigh the cost. Jill was excited about a man she just met. He was gorgeous and fun. They flirted and exchanged phone numbers, and now she was waiting for him to make the next move. Will he call? She fretted. All day long she worried about it. Finally she took the initiative, called him, made a date, and they were both glad she did. More and more, men expect women to meet them halfway. We have to, because we know that if we misread a woman's cues or signals, we can be accused of sexual harassment, stalking, or, in extreme cases, even date rape. As a friend at IBM once told me, I never make the second move. What that means for women is that the more passive they are, the less likely they are to have relationships with sensitive, intelligent men, and more likely to fall prey to domineering men who are prone to violence. In this cultural climate, then, the price of passivity for women is to be a victim, see another woman get the relationship meant for her, or worse. If it is meant to be, it is up to each one of us to see to it that it happens. The best way to do that is not sit around waiting for a legion of angels to let us know, a magical moment to make everything clear, or cosmo horoscopes, but to get into the habit of making ethical choices. Get into the habit of doing right, and what is meant to be will be. Okay, that was 1996. 2016, Olympia, Washington. In 2016, men can no longer afford to take the initiative without friendly or impartial witnesses, or even to date or mate without a contract and a video to prove innocence. Marriage has become a minefield for men. Divorce an easy path to a life of leisure for women. Turd Flinging Monkey is right. Either we use science to alter the brains and minds of women to force agency on them, politics to strip women of the vote, or subterfuge to hurry the collapse of the system. But there are factors MGTOW need to include in all our calculations. Automation is one. As Charles Hugh Smith has written on his blog, within about 10 years, automation will eliminate most middle-class jobs, and it won't create new jobs to take their place. Martin Armstrong's proposed solution to the sovereign debt crisis is another, and you can now find an Amazon link on the Backlash homepage where you can buy the 90-minute video of his solution conference. Why, apart from succumbing to my evil plot to profit from your purchase, should you buy and watch the video? In it, Armstrong explains why we can eliminate all federal taxes, how to fund federal government operations without taxes, and why this can very literally save the economies of any and every nation that adopts his solution. Human nature being a rough beast, it would require ironclad safeguards, but it could work, and it could escalate hypergamy to even greater heights of insanity. I am persuaded that we are rapidly approaching a technological singularity beyond which life as we know it will change in more ways than we can predict. This is why, like Turd Flinging Monkey, I believe that it is of utmost importance that regardless of whether you identify as a MGTOW, MRA, or host of the largest philosophy show in the world, you need to focus at least some of your attention on getting rich beyond your wildest dreams of avarice. Or if you have modest dreams, then try to get rich beyond my wildest dreams of avarice, because my dreams are pretty big. It sounds like Turd Flinging Monkey may plan to produce more Monkeynomics videos. If he does, I urge you to watch them. I also urge you to go back and watch his earlier Monkeynomics videos. As Al Pacino said in Scarface, first comes the money, then comes the power, then comes the women. Okay, having access to women is nice, and as life extension and regenerative medicine advance, even old farts like me will be able to have as strong a libido as we want. But in our society, money does confer influence, if not power, and we need that to shape more sane policies, possibly to sponsor the development of the technologies necessary to reshape the brains of women and men, to mitigate hypergamy and encourage agency, to launch both educational and entertainment campaigns to educate everybody about the realities of sexual dimorphism, hypergamy, and dominance, and if worst comes to worst, to save your hide in the event of a Mad Max collapse. That's all for now. Check out the other videos, subscribe to the channel. For the Backlash at Backlash.com, my name is Rod Van Mecklin.